I'm 87 years old, and I was married for 52 years. Everyone said we had a perfect marriage. We never went to bed angry. That was our rule, our sacred rule. We said it at our wedding. We told our children. We told our friends. We never go to bed angry. It was a lie. We went to bed angry almost every single night for 52 years. Let me explain what we actually did. We would fight about money, about the kids, about his mother, about my spending, about him forgetting things, about me nagging. Normal marriage fights. And then bedtime would come, and one of us would remember the rule, usually me. I would say, "We can't go to bed angry." And Richard would sigh. And I would say, "I love you." And he would say, "I love you too." And then we would turn our backs to each other and lie there in the dark, both still furious, not touching, barely breathing, waiting for the other one to fall asleep first. I thought that counted. I really did. I thought saying the words was the same as meaning them. I thought following the rule meant we had a good marriage. We said, "I love you" every single night for 52 years, even when we were angry, especially when we were angry. So we were doing it right, right? Wrong. So completely wrong. Richard died 3 years ago. Heart attack. He went to bed fine and didn't wake up. The last thing I said to him was, "I love you," after an argument about whether he had taken his medication. He said, "I love you too," in that flat voice he used when he was still mad. We turned away from each other. He died facing the wall. I have spent 3 years thinking about all those nights. Thousands of nights lying back to back in the same bed, angry about things I can't even remember now. What were we fighting about? I have no idea. I remember the feeling, the tight chest, the clenched jaw, the refusal to be the first one to apologize. But the actual reasons? Gone. We fought about his mother once for 3 days straight. 3 days of silent treatment, of "I love you" through gritted teeth, of sleeping like two strangers who happened to share a mattress. I don't remember what his mother did. I just remember the anger. We fought about money constantly. He thought I spent too much. I thought he was too controlling. We would argue at dinner, keep arguing while getting ready for bed, say our mandatory "I love yous," and then lie there fuming. In the morning, we would get up and pretend it was fine, but it wasn't fine. It was never fine. Here's what I understand now. Never go to bed angry doesn't mean say the words and go to bed anyway. It means actually resolve it. Actually talk until you understand each other. Actually apologize when you're wrong. Actually forgive when they apologize. We did none of that. We just said the magic words like they were a spell that would fix everything. I love you. There. Done. Rule followed. Marriage saved. Except our marriage wasn't saved. Our marriage was dying slowly, one angry night at a time. I would lie there in the dark, listening to Richard breathe, and I would think terrible thoughts. I would replay the argument. I would think of better things I should have said. I would build my case for why I was right. I would get angrier. And in the morning I would be exhausted, not from lack of sleep, but from staying angry all night long. Richard did the same thing. I know because once, maybe 15 years into our marriage, I asked him, "Do you just fall asleep after we fight?" He said no. He said he lies there for hours sometimes, thinking about what I said, getting more upset. We both did this for years, and we never talked about it. We had a friend couple, Tom and Linda. They fought differently. They fought loud. They fought long. Sometimes they fought until 2 in the morning. But when they went to bed, it was resolved, really resolved. They would talk until they understood each other. They would apologize. They would mean it. And then they would actually sleep. I used to feel superior to them. I would tell Linda, Richard and I never go to bed angry, like it was a competition I was winning. Linda would just smile. Tom and Linda were married 54 years. They held hands until the day Tom died. I don't think I held Richard's hand in bed once after the first year of marriage. My daughter Rebecca is married now. She's 58. About 10 years ago, she told me she and her husband David were going to counseling. I was horrified. Counseling meant failure. It meant you couldn't fix it yourselves. I told her, just remember, never go to bed angry. She looked at me and said, "Mom, you and Dad went to bed angry all the time." I started to argue, started to say we didn't. We always said I love you. And then I stopped, because she was right. She grew up in that house. She heard the arguments. She saw us turn away from each other. She knew. Rebecca and David did the counseling. They learned to actually fight properly, to say what they mean, to listen to each other, to resolve things instead of just putting a Band-Aid of "I love you" over an infected wound. They've been married 35 years, and they still touch each other, still hold hands, still face each other when they sleep. I wasted 52 years sleeping next to a man I loved but wouldn't talk to, really talk to. We talked about surface things, groceries, bills, the kids' schedules, what was on TV. But we didn't talk about feelings. We didn't talk about hurts. We didn't talk about needs. When something upset me, I would say so, but I wouldn't say why it really upset me. I wouldn't say, when you forget our anniversary, I feel like I don't matter to you. I would just say, you forgot again. And he would say, I'm busy. And I would say, you're always busy. And we'd be off, fighting about the surface while the real issue stayed buried. He probably felt the same way. He probably had deep hurts I never knew about. Things I did that made him feel small or unappreciated or unloved. But he never said, and I never asked. We just fought about the symptoms, never the disease. The worst part is, I thought we were good at marriage. I really did. We stayed together 52 years. We raised 3 kids. We never divorced. We said, I love you every single day. To everyone else, we looked fine. We looked like we had figured it out. But we hadn't figured out anything. We had just agreed to follow one rule, and we followed it badly. There was a night, maybe 20 years in, when we had a big fight. I don't remember about what, but I remember lying there in the dark after our mandatory I love yous and thinking I could leave. Not seriously, just the thought crossing my mind. I could leave and maybe find someone I don't go to bed angry with. I didn't leave. I stayed for 32 more years. And we kept doing the same thing, fighting, saying I love you, turning away, lying there angry, getting up, pretending it was fine. Richard wasn't a bad man. I wasn't a bad woman. We weren't bad people. We just didn't know how to actually connect. We knew how to coexist. We knew how to parent together. We knew how to run a household. But we didn't know how to be vulnerable with each other. If I could do it over, I would break the rule. I would say, no, we're not saying I love you and going to bed. We're staying up until we fix this. I would make him tell me what he was really feeling. I would tell him what I was really feeling. I would cry if I needed to cry. I would listen if he needed to talk. I would rather have fought until 3 a.m. and resolved it than say I love you at 10 p.m. and stay angry for 3 days. Here's what never go to bed angry should actually mean. It should mean don't carry yesterday's fight into today. Don't let the sun come up on an unresolved hurt. Don't build a marriage on a foundation of buried resentments. It doesn't mean say 3 magic words and pretend everything is fine. Richard died angry at me. Maybe not that night, but in general. There were things between us that we never resolved. Things from 30 years ago that we just added to the pile and said, I love you over. And now he's gone and I can't fix any of it. I would give anything for one more fight. A real fight. Where we actually said what we meant. Where we actually listened. Where we cried and apologized and meant it. Where we fell asleep facing each other instead of facing the walls. But I don't get that chance. I get 52 years of memories of his back, of the space between us in the bed, of the cold, I love you, that meant I'm still mad but we have a rule. If you're married, or if you're going to get married, please don't do what we did. Don't just follow rules. Actually connect. Actually resolve things. Actually mean it when you say you love someone. And if you have to break the rule and go to bed angry sometimes because you're too tired to finish the conversation, that's okay. Just promise to finish it tomorrow. Actually finish it. Don't waste 52 years sleeping next to someone you love, but won't really talk to. I'm 87 years old. I sleep alone now. And you know what? It feels exactly the same as sleeping next to Richard did for most of our marriage. Lonely, cold, separate. That should never be what marriage feels like. Never go to bed angry doesn't mean what I thought it meant. And I learned that 52 years too late.